All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Statesmen Nation, everybody watching this later on. Welcome to another Coaches Show. I'm Wade Steinloggy. I'm the Sports Information Director here, and we've got three awesome guests here tonight, beginning with head men's and women's golf coach Darren Fisher.
Thanks for, is this thing on? There. You hear me now?
They didn't give you any applause. I'm sorry about that. I was expecting applause. There it is. There's the applause.
Thanks for having me. Anytime I get a chance to promote the kids, I'm all in, 100%.
Awesome. All right, we're going to get into it. You've got a healthy little drive down to Albia when we get done here, so we can get right into it. All right. Unfortunately, this is the first time we've had you on the show. It's going, bi-weekly. Don't catch you guys all the time, but so with that being said, you guys already have, your season wrapping up, fall season wrapping up next week. So let's do a quick recap of what we've seen so far this fall.
I feel like there's been a lot of great things that we've accomplished. We're very young, somewhat inexperienced, and we've seen some good things. We've played some really quality opponents, and I think at this point it's all about growing and kind of building towards the spring when the actual conference tournament comes up. I really like the makeup of both of our teams. We've got some growing to do and getting used to one another. I really do like the kids. I like the way that they work. I'm very proud of them.
All right, your team just played at a course that you've experience with, playing there at TPC Deer Run. You've experience playing there as a professional. So going into that, not to say that a lot of other coaches didn't have this experience or this, some insider knowledge as well. But being that you have played there, what kind of advice did you give the guys and the ladies going into that? You're like, hopefully this will really help you.
Yeah, we talked a lot about strategy. TPC Deer Run is a big golf course. It's not necessarily longer than all of them, but it's just big. Everything about it is big. We tried to get there a little bit early so that they could get acclimated to all of it and take some pictures and just kind of soak it all in. And the looks on their faces and the excitement that they were able to get out there and play a PGA Tour venue. Advice, it doesn't really vary from golf course to golf course. Strategy, hit it here if you're not in position, especially there, if you're not in position, you just need to get it out into the fairway so that you can make an aggressive swing to the greens. The greens are somewhat penal, if you're out of position. And then, just don't get overwhelmed with the entirety of the golf course. It's still fairways, it's still greens, and at 18, 19, 20, that's difficult to do sometimes. And I thought for the most part they handled it pretty well. I think being that we've went so hard over the last 5.5 weeks, I think we wore out at the very end on both sides. I think we had a chance to, my assistants did an incredible job with me running the event, coaching for me, and the women were right there to the very end, and the guys really got off to a great start on day 2. I think we were tied with second place and maybe 5 or 6 shots out of first, and we just didn't have the endurance to push it over the edge, and that'll come with these kids as they get older. Like I said, my entire team is freshmen and sophomores right now, and so again, I'm super excited for where we're going. They all thanked me 100 times for playing there, and I'm like, we'll do this every week or every year if we can.
All right. Make sure I'm on there. Okay. We didn't really have a chance to talk about this. We talked about it personally, but never had a chance to really interview you about this. But you've got an awesome opportunity that you earned. It wasn't just given to you. That you earned to play the U.S. Senior Open this summer. Let's talk about that experience, the qualifying, the opportunity to play there against us. Guys that we've we watch, that every Sunday. We played in the Masters and the Open and all that. So I just talk about that whole experience and what that meant to you.
Yeah, incredible experience. It's hard. First of all, it's hard to put senior behind my entry fee. I don't feel like I'm quite there yet, but but then to make it through sectional qualifying, all the way from local through sectional and make it there, that's really difficult. And I was really super happy to make it through there. And then once you get there, it's a dream. That you're well taken care of. Three meals a day, anything that you need or you can think of, it's there for you. And and you mentioned it, playing with your idols. I got to play 9 holes with Justin Leonard. You're in the locker room, kind of rubbing elbows with the guys that are playing great now. Jimenez and Patrick Harrington and VJ, and it's really special. I'm super happy that my wife Jenny and the kids were able to come out and spend that time with us. My dad was able to come along. Kind of I would say it's a bucket list item, but I want to get back. I want to get back as fast as I can. So maximum effort to try to qualify again next year, and I just can't. The golf course was perfect. Everything was just set up so perfect by the USGA. So.
All right. Well, I didn't have this on the question list that I gave you earlier, but I'm just going to piggyback on all of this. Has that helped at all in the recruiting process to say, hey, you know what? I'm a U.S. Senior Open qualifier. Like, maybe you want to come and play William Penn for me?
To be honest, yes. There have been a couple times where I've talked to recruits about I like to be competitive. And they're like, oh, yeah, we saw you played in this one and you qualified for this event. And, I just think that lends to how we want to control the program and how we want to put that program out to these kids that, we want to grow and compete and just make the program as good as we possibly can make it. And it doesn't help if I can go out and play with the kids and every now and again they want me to play and I'll play alongside them, and maybe they'll learn something, maybe they won't, but yeah, it certainly has helped.
Awesome. Okay, once again, Darren Fisher, our head men's and women's golf coach here at William Penn, and when we come right back on the Coaches Show, we'll have another great guest. Okay, back here on the Coaches Show, we are now joined by head men's soccer coach Joe Minton. There's the applause. You get it right away. Darren's still new. We still got to figure it out. So, all right, we're going to get right into it here, Coach. Roller coaster ride so far this year. We've had you on. We've talked to you, outside of this show. And had a lot of opportunities to talk to you after games, which sometimes it's been good and sometimes not so good.
Yeah.
Again, roller coaster, but. I think the consistent pattern for the team is the defense has been there week after week, game after game, but unfortunately the offense has sometimes just struggled, and there's just no really other way to say it. But other times you've obviously seen a lot of success. Right. The team has really struck. So let's just talk about where the team is right now.
Yeah, I think where we've been at in the past couple of years and where we found a lot of success is with the consistency side of it, right? We found consistency where maybe we don't play very well, but we're scoring goals and we're winning games. We found consistency and we're playing well and we're winning games comfortably, right? And right now we're lacking a bit of consistency in both ends, right? We've played extremely well the past 2 games. We've dominated 2 very tough teams in our conference, averaging 38, 19 shots a game across 2 games, and we have nothing to show for it. So, look, it would be a lie to say that we're in a place of comfortability, that we're in a good place, that we're happy with where we're at right now, but the reality is we are where we are. So for us, we just need to keep finding a way to keep clean sheets first and foremost, not concede a lot of shots, but we need to find a way to get our forwards firing. And again, it can't be tactical sometimes. We have to look a little bit deeper, and we have to look at the players sometimes and ask them, are you doing enough? Are you doing extra work on your own? Are you making sure that you're at the peak of your game. So yeah, it's definitely been a tough week since Missouri Valley, and this conference definitely doesn't get any easier at all.
Well, that segues right into my next question, talking about the heart. We always talk about that it's it's a grueling task to get through the season. It's a juggernaut, as always. But this just proves this year where you have a Culver Stockton who's tied against you, who's tied against Grandview, and they've put up, and they're way at the bottom. But so it just proves that anybody can do everything. How taxing is that to know that every single night you guys have to show up? There's just no off nights.
Yeah, I think my sleep pattern's showing that as well. But no, it's look, we love the conference though. Right? You don't want to be in any other conference, right? There's other conferences around the country where you're getting a day off, and that's when the complacency really starts to set in for players, I feel. So for us, knowing that every game's a test, every game that we have to go out there and compete is absolutely, I love it, and I think the players love it as well. On the flip side of that, though, it is very taxing on players and legs. And when we're not winning games comfortably, when we're only winning 1-0, 2-1s, those 3-1 games where the margin's so fine, it just means that we can't rotate players in. And that was the luxury we had last year, that we were able to go up 3 or 4 and let's get some players on. And I think as we're progressing through the season, we're seeing some guys starting to get a little bit leggy, mentally and physically. So for us, we need to make sure that, these last couple of games, we're doing whatever we can to get some guys some rest as and when needed. We have a deep enough squad. We have a good enough squad where I trust a lot of these players, but these games are too close at the moment where we're maybe going 15, 16 deep. So, but yeah, you don't want to be in any other conference. We say it every year. If you do well in our conference, you're going to do well on a national level because, teams outside of our conference maybe aren't prepared for the competition when it comes to a national level.
For sure. Let's talk about the team at the top of the conference right now. You have Mid-American Nazarene, number 2 in the nation. We're number 8, so definitely no slouches, even though we're talking about struggles, but we're still number 8 in the nation. This is the Heart game of the week on Saturday for homecoming. Let's preview this matchup and this top 10 matchup against Pioneers and Statesmen.
Yeah, first off, I have to give Mid-America their flowers. I have to give Kev his flowers. Every year we've played them, he seems to have 10 new players every year, and they're almost always as effective as they are the year before. So I have to give him his flowers, and that program, it's credit first and foremost. But for us, it's actually a nice thing because for once, we have no pressure on us. We're not the team at the top. We're coming in with a little bit of an underdog mentality, one of those mentalities where we have everything to gain and they have a little bit of everything to lose. So, look, we're going to go in with that mentality. We're going to go in with the mentality that we're going to win the game, but it's going to be a very tough game against a tough team that play a very out there system. They play a formation that isn't really seen across all levels of the NAIA and even the NCAA, and a style of play that works for them year on year. So it's definitely going to be a tough one, but we're liking the position we're in, that we're, the underdogs and, second in conference. If we compete them, all of the balls in our court all of a sudden again. So, yeah, we're in a position where we're going to go in as underdogs and we're going to try and give them a good game. Again, it's the game of the week for a reason, so we're going to try and make it a game of the week at the end of the day.
Sure. All right. Well, I already mentioned it's homecoming on Saturday. You're an alum. We've talked about this in the past, that you've come all the way from the lowly beginnings of being a freshman year at William Penn and then playing in GA and all of that. So I know that your team's very international, has been for several years now. But I guess, do you know of some people that are coming back, or you outside of just celebrating a Pioneer, a Statesman victory over the Pioneers on Saturday? Anybody else that you're excited to come back and just chum it up with, some of those old alums?
Yeah, I try and get them back every year, but they're all over the place. So no, a couple of weeks ago, Jack and Steve came back, who's seniors my freshman year, so it's really nice to see them. But for me, I'm just proud to be an alum of this university at the end of the day, and I think for myself, I don't really need to see those people. What I will say is that everybody is always checking in. We have a group chat with the seniors that we graduated with in 2019 that we're chatting regularly. They're watching the scores. The guys who graduated last year, they're texting me constantly. Old alumni are now on the bandwagon as well. So there won't be a lot of people here from a men's soccer POV, but it'll be nice for them to be able to watch the game. It's a good enough kickoff time around the world where they can definitely tune in and watch, and I'm sure we'll get some feedback. So yeah, I'm hoping for absolutely a win for us on Saturday, so that I can finally enjoy my Saturday evenings without being upset that we've battered somebody and not won.
I'm sure Kathy would appreciate that as well. So, all right. Once again, Joe Minton, our head men's soccer coach here at William Penn. They take on the Mid-American Nazarene Pioneers. 1:30 start, homecoming Saturday. So if you can't tune in, catch it on the Urban Edge Network, Heart of America Athletic Conference channel. So we'll let Joe go, and we'll come right back, and we will have Mark Benavidez of the football team. We'll be back in a second on the Coaches Show.
Thanks, Wade.
All right, back here one more time on the Coaches Show. We have head football coach Mark Benavidez. Waiting for the claps again. I need to open that up better. I only do this like once every few months. So, all right. All right, Coach. You had a bye week last week, got homecoming this week. We're midway right through the season. So coming off the bye week, how fresh is the team going into the second half of the season?
Yeah, fresh. It's always going to be a challenge whenever you go almost 2 weeks without playing a game. And so obviously we're fresh. Anxious to get after it, and really excited to see what we can do this Saturday.
All right, if you're going to answer that question, I need to have about 6 more questions. That was really fast. All right, sorry, I'm coughing all of a sudden. All right, let's preview Saturday's game. Homecoming against Missouri Baptist, a team that record-wise is not very impressive, but they have put together quite a few pretty close scores. Yeah,
no, they're a team that we played 2 years ago, and it was a baseball score, very, very tight game. My first game coaching here, and then throughout this year, they had a 2-point loss to Mid-America Nazarene. Going into the halftime, I think they were down by a touchdown with 2 minutes left in the second quarter against Benedictine. They've had some close games where they're very close, and it comes down to one play here or there. They scored 17 points against Grandview. Where they're at. They are nowhere near as bad as with the record of being, a one-win team. And it's something for us that we got to make sure we're bringing it and getting after it.
Defensively, offensively, it looked like they can put up points. I think it was 39 against Mid-Am, but defensively, they're giving up like 40, 43 or something like that. Some things to possibly exploit. You're the offensive coach, so some things that you've seen, and I'm not going to give away the playbook here, but some things that you've seen that you're like, all right, I feel like pretty confident that we can do well offensively.
Yeah, no pressure offense. Just got to score points, right? They're statistically struggle a little bit on defense, and I think just observing and seeing what they've done, watching live stream games, it's kind of hard to figure out what their identity might be on offense and defense at times. And so one of the most challenging things we're going to face as an offense is that they have done a number of different things on defense. And so, again, stats are stats. At the end of the day, it comes down to us versus them on Saturday and who can execute, who can perform. But they've got some good football players too. And so at the end of the day, we got to make sure that we can neutralize their great players, take advantage of their weakest links, and take advantage of what they're trying to offer schematically.
All right, homecoming is always a fun week, a fun weekend, but you add in the fact that we just had the bye week, like we said. So how have you and your staff worked with your players to keep them focused, knowing, again, like we're talking about 2 weeks off and now all this stuff that's going on with homecoming. So, yeah, just to try to keep them focused during this time.
Yeah, I think it's extremely important consistency. Have it to where even though we had a bye week, we still practiced our same practices. Little tweaks here and there. This week, we've had 2 weeks to, quote unquote, get ready for Missouri Baptist, but just being consistent with it. Our Tuesdays, our Wednesdays, our Thursdays, we're going to do the same stuff. And on top of that, there's, quote unquote, distractions and family coming in town and alumni coming in town. Our guys just got to understand, what's the task at hand. We got to go compete. We got to go execute, got to go win on Saturday, regardless of what goes on a Thursday night, Friday night before the game.
All right, one final question, and this is not from me. I'm not going to say who it's from, but the question is that you wear this shirt that says, "I got that dog in me." Is there any specific days that you like wearing this shirt? And it sounds like it's just with your smile on your face. Obviously, it's a bit of an inside joke within the program.
Yeah, I got that dog in me. So it's a T-shirt with X-ray of a dog in a chest, whatever. Wear it on workday Wednesdays. And so Wednesdays, we got to get after it. It's a long day, a lot of reps, a lot of team reps. People might say they got the dog in them or they're him or whatever. And just me kind of poking fun at that. But at the end of the day, and kind of getting a little bit of vitamin D with the sleeves cut off. But at the end of the day, we got to make sure we're bringing intensity. Middle of the week, guys are tired of classes and football and getting yelled at or whatever. And so we got to make sure we understand. We just got to keep pushing through and do what you got to do to win and compete.
All right. Well, once again, we know who asked that question, but he couldn't be here tonight, unfortunately. But Mark Benavidez was here, head football coach here. William Penn, the Statesmen, will be taking on Missouri Baptist, 12:30 start, homecoming Saturday. In addition to that, the women's soccer team will be taking on Mid-American Nazarene at 11. We already know that the men are also playing at 1:30, so definitely come out. If you're not in Oskaloosa, catch all the games on the Urban Edge Network, Heart of America Athletic Conference channel. Until next time, go Statesmen.